Hello, everybody. It is 9 p.m. on the East Coast, 8 p.m. in Chicago. I think like 6 p.m. on the West Coast. Anyway, it's Shapes and Forms time again. My name is Planet Jane, and I am joined today. I almost said boined today, which boin is not a word. By
Boing.
Trevor whatever
That's me.
and Shredney Vashtar.
I had the time of my life.
All right,
I don't know why I did
all right, that's a new one. um,
that.
Win may or may not be joining us a bit later. We have a new game for the show today. Um, I have been meaning to try this for a while, and I happened to have a small bit of extra money, so I bought it. This is Noida, or Noida, or Noida. I have no idea how you pronounce the name of this game. Anyway, it's a roguelike platformer. It's based around like particle physics, like those those little like web toys you used to see where it would be like, oh, like a digital sandbox,
Yeah.
like that kind of thing. My understanding is that this is built on some similar principles. I have literally not played any of this yet, so
Oh,
let's get started.
I mean, I would love to
Tur-
see it.
yeah, turn the screen share on,
Oh
please.
yeah, sorry, I forgot. We
Like
were we
with
were we were
my
running
eyes.
we were running slightly late, and it slipped my mind.
Yeah.
There you go.
Now I can see it with my eyes, my
Also,
regular eyes, rather
also
than my
the
wizard
default
eyes.
window size is literally perfect for our stream.
Ew,
Beautiful.
Ibinyan.
Murr is hitting us with some song lyrics as we start our first new game. Let me know, by the way, in the audience if this is too loud or not loud enough. Nala Games.
I had a pretty simple day today.
Me too. I like woke up, got some soda at the gas station, and came back home. I made my move of the day in the game of correspondence chess I've been playing over the course of the past week. Uh, and then I got this set up. I also played Slay the Spire for like 10 minutes. I
Cool.
got immediately bodied by the first boss. So that was
So,
fun.
so literally, my day consisted of three things. One, I watched The Truman Show. Then
Oh.
I watched 2 episodes of Gilmore Girls, and then slept for 4 hours.
I should probably watch The Truman Show someday, if only because a my album that I'm working on uses a still from it as the cover.
Hmm. Yeah, it's a pretty good movie.
Still?
I
Whoa.
I watched it I think as a kid, and
Um.
yes, I did say Gilmore Girls.
Yes.
Only the first couple of like episodes. I want to say it was episodes 2 and 3 of season 1 because like I've seen it already, but you know, sometimes you just got to put something on Netflix to occupy yourself for a little bit. So,
It's that show started out well,
Ooh.
and
What?
then there was that weird period when
Oh.
the person who actually created the show was no longer involved for a while,
yeah.
and then got involved again, and it was very strange, and it didn't really get good again until arguably maybe like the last couple of episodes, and then with the revival of it was solid.
Yeah. So with that one, I think she's actually working on The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel now.
Oh,
So
yeah, I
So
recall
that's
that.
an interesting. sort of combination. I haven't seen any of that show, but I've heard good things about it.
Cells at Work Black is anime The Wire. What?
I'm just gonna smile and nod.
I mean, I know what both of those things are. Alright, I died already in this game. So, if anybody didn't, like myself, was baffled by what happened there, I started with, like, it's basically a magic grenade launcher, and accidentally shot myself with it twice before I realized what was happening. And then was immediately mauled to death by some kind of rat creature.
You know, another day at the...
Yeah.
Indeed.
A wand.
I, before we went live, listened to, well, I had started listening to it all yesterday, but then I decided to start over again and listen to it, you know, in a more, like, in a setting where I could focus more on it, but then still got distracted by other things, was Jason Krumer's self-titled album. Krumer is a noise artist whose stuff is very, very sinister, and very emotionally intense and strange.
Did you guys see that? Oh, I'm on fire.
I see that you're on fire.
You weren't paying attention to me blowing up half the level?
Sorry, it just, I mean, it makes sense that would happen.
This is an interesting one. Is there, like, a way to fix this issue, or am I just gonna die now?
just...
Okay, now it goes out officially on its own. This game is strange and hard.
Something Ellie Goulding song burn.
Yeah, we got that fire.
But
So what you're saying, Mur, is that if the American adaptation of Cells at Work were produced here, it would air on Showtime and be a gritty police drama.
Yeah, like that's. I'm still trying to puzzle that out, to be honest. While I also puzzle out like how this game works.
I think that's the interpretation I'm gonna go with, just for the sake of understanding, getting a working, idea going.
Cells at Working.
Yeah, it aired on HBO.
Cells at Working. Damn. Yeah, it did air on HBO, not Showtime. Showtime was Dexter, right?
Yeah, among other things.
No, Among Us is a video game. Red was the imposter.
Also, I listened to the debut album from the charmingly named Evaporated Sores. Who?
I swear to God, you make these bands up. Like,
well, it's the main musician behind, like, the most well-known musician behind this particular band is a guy whose one of his most well-known projects is named Uzumaki, which is kind of great.
Yeah, Junji Ito.
Yeah, it's
like relation or very much relation.
I mean, it is just a Japanese word for spiral, but
it is definitely inspired by Junji Ito. Like I think he does his own art for, especially for the Uzumaki releases, and they are 100% inspired by Junji Ito.
If you're using the word Uzumaki in English, you're doing one of two things. You're either alluding to Naruto, or you're alluding to Junji Ito.
I mean, there are exceptions, but, like, yeah.
There are exceptions, but they're rare.
Yeah. Like, but, like Uzumaki are a very experimental, hectic sounding death metal band, and Evaporated Swords are like that, but with more of a doom metal thing going on. Like, I was a little frustrated that like the production wasn't clearer, which I probably should have expected given like the people involved. But at the same time, I'm like, I think that if I re-listen to it with like a better, like once I get my headphones repaired, which hopefully will be soon,
Ah.
then I'd probably have a better experience with it.
What is this game?
Junji Ito is overrated. I don't know. It's like he's, like. That
The only overrated creator is me.
Should I shoot this box with a skull on it?
Go for it.
Yes.
Could possibly go wrong. Oh, surprise! It blew up. There's like I have a thing called a blood potion, and I feel like I can somehow use this to heal myself, but I have no idea how. Like I hit the button.
Maybe
and
if you get poisoned by the scary radioactive stuff. Then.
What the fuck? Well, I dropped it and kicked it into the ceiling.
Huh.
Didn't realize there were melee attacks in this game. That's on me. Whoa. Oh, I don't like that. Oh, there's more than one of them. Okay, yep. A Keiko and Monoljaka, of course.
Keiko
Emmanuel Jaska.
Keiko. Yeah, this is Finnish?
What?
What? That's like Finnish.
I mean...
Yeah,
no, I mean like the...
Jaska.
Whoa, what the fuck? The game crashed and reopened. Okay.
Noita. Yeah, like...
is it still
these
showing
words
up?
look like
Yes.
Finnish.
Okay, that was very strange.
Like, that's very curious.
What is this? Mud potion. Okay. A mud potion. A potion of mud.
Puddle of mud.
Oh.
What'd you
They
say about
released
the,
an album last year, or was it the year before?
What'd you say about the
Oh my
greatest
God,
band
they're
of
still-
all time? Okay.
They're still making music?
Yes. Sorta.
That is... I don't know how to feel about that, honestly.
I think that being like is a solid response. All I know is they did like maybe the single worst cover I have ever heard of Nirvana.
Oh God. I shudder to think of what that sounds like.
During a live to radio unplugged thing, like back like a year or two ago or something. Like it became something of a minor internet meme. Very
you can
bad.
shoot down the lanterns and they set things on fire. That's pretty cool.
That's neat.
This game does remind me of a survival game. It's it has some serious like old school roguelike energy. Like I have no idea what's going on or how to use anything I have. Which is not a bad thing. I'm pretty sure that's intentional, but you know.
Kind of bizarre, unsettling mood.
Yeah, that too. Oh, this is like gravel. Okay.
And what if it gave you like a shovel at some point so you can move the gravel?
I mean, I do have bombs that I could blow
And also,
thing
like,
up with?
but I'm
Things up with?
Shovel would be like a distressingly useful weapon in terms of like melee capacity.
True. I think you mostly get like wands though in this game.
Yeah, but like, I wonder in like
What the fuck
if there are
you?
games
Get out of
where
here.
you can totally get a shovel and fuck people's shit up with a shovel.
Okay, so like the good thing is
Far
that
Cry 5 let you do that.
What did?
Far Cry.
Oh, Far Cry.
why am I the loom guy? Look, I didn't make the game, okay? Also, when people say loom, they always mean the adventure game, but I always think of a weird like ambient exploration game that nobody remembers from like 2009.
I am intrigued with the
Uh,
concept.
It was a Newgrounds game, I think.
Oh.
It's probably still there. Like, I don't know why it wouldn't be.
Question is it playable?
That's a fair point.
I mean,
Does Newgrounds have the thing where they like have their simulated, well not simulated, emulated Flash stuff going on in like some HTML5 port thing rather than being flashed directly now?
I think so, but I'm not sure.
Because in that case, yeah, it probably is just fine. But if not, then that raises an interesting question on whether or not like the lifespan of it, that and God knows how many other things on Newgrounds has come to a close.
What is this?
Wonder what the hell happened to
All
Albino
Seeing
Black Sheep.
Eye.
yeah, that's a weird one.
What game?
Albino Black Sheep, it was the site.
Oh.
Like,
Yeah, just the website.
just, you know, like Newgrounds, but worse.
I don't trust this guy. He seems to have
am
a
I
knife.
wrong? Am I wrong, Trey?
Or perhaps
You're
a
not.
gun? No, it's a gun.
You're out here in full Dungeons and Dragons wizard regalia, and then he's over here just with his Desert Eagle, ready to pop off.
Yep.
Made sure.
Oh, this is a different thing this time. That's good to know. I would like to acquire that item.
What?
How am I gonna get in there?
All I can think of now is what happens when you have a hyperactive terrier with an overpowered yet highly inefficient handgun.
Pardon?
It's a beagle with the deagle.
Deagle.
Yo, there's like a shop up there.
Neat.
So that you can use your ill-gotten gained funds.
Yeah.
To acquire items.
I don't know how good this game is gonna be to stream in future shows, but I do like it. So far, at least. What do we
An
got
interesting
here?
one.
You know, is there any semantic difference between thus far and so far?
My guess is that there was one at one point, but it is not observed anymore, except by...
Well, so, I'm the biggest boss that you've seen so far doesn't work.
Why not?
So Rick Ross had to use thus in that equivalent, but otherwise I'm not 100% sure.
You guys seen that video where Anthony Fantano asks his phone what the best albums are by various artists, and when he asks
Yeah.
it about U2, it gives him a Rick Ross album?
Yeah, just over and over again he keeps doing it, and
Fuck.
it's like, for some reason. I think that eventually he got it to work, and it said, I can't remember which one it was. Was it War? I think, like, which would be a valid answer. It's either that or, like, the Joshua tree, which, you could do worse.
U2, I haven't listened to enough of them to really be able to make any judgment call on the music itself, but I always end up just thinking of the time when
Oh no.
it was it was when Apple put that album of theirs on everybody's iPhone and people were confused.
Oh yeah, one of the guys from
I remember that.
So there was a call-in to Jim DeRogatis and Greg Kotz show Sound Opinions about that, where it was like, I got this, album on my iPad all of a sudden, and I'm really not happy to hear, U2, because I am one of the founding members of Negativland, who were sued by U2's record company for doing a parody single of them back in the day.
Damn.
To the point that every copy that was available at the time, aside from very few, were impounded and declared illegal. And he actually did a guerrilla interview pretending to be somebody else with The Edge, where he like gotcha'd him by like saying, actually I'm, so and so from Negativland. And it was like, The Edge was so sheepish and so apologetic. It's like, I'm really sorry. Our management made us do it.
Copyright law is fucked.
Yeah, it was like really ridiculous.
What is that?
Especially because it was transparently fair use. Like, very much a transformative work. Also, like, very clearly satirical in nature, as well as being transformative. But I don't know. It's like, it was definitely not cutting into the same market, for example. But not that I think that is actually relevant to the morality of the situation, but it is 100% relevant to the legality of the situation.
You know what?
Right.
You know what I think should be legal?
What?
Dogs
Voting.
Thank you. Yes. This is why I only listen to the Eagles, the only true rock band. Oh no.
The Eagles or the Eagles of death metal?
Why is that band called that?
Because of the humor of the term the Eagles of death metal, like saying so and so are the X of Y.
Yeah, but like, why that arrangement specifically?
I think because
It's just awkward to say.
I think it's also, I can't remember what genre of music they are, but it's like, given what style of music they make, it's kind of a funny combination. The band The Eagles of Death Metal are the Eagles of Death Metal. I'm sorry, Murr. You can't be pedantic about that band.
It's Eagles, not the... Listen. We're not doing this whole Talking Heads thing, where it's like, oh, they're Talking Heads, not the Talking Heads.
I can't remember whether or not they're technically a death metal band or not. I believe they might be a thrash band.
A desert rock band. I remember when that was a term that people used.
Yeah.
There's that band with a K in there. Their name starts with a K. Who am I thinking?
Caius.
Yeah.
Who? Some of their members, at least one of them, is now and Queens of the Stone.
Yeah, Josh Homme was the drummer of Eagles of Death Metal, or technically is.
What?
Apparently, I'm looking this up.
What is happening in this video game right now? Okay. Okay.
Okay, the explanation is
What is
that
going on?
their vocalist and guitarist
Hearts.
was at, well, okay, he, the guitarist Jesse Hughes and Josh Homme, who plays drums in the band, were in a bar once in London, and they were watching a man dance to Winds of Change by the Scorpions.
What the heck?
When asked what he was doing, the man yelled, "This is death metal, dude!" To which Homme replied, "No, it's not. This is like the Eagles of death metal."
That's such a nothing joke. I saw the water go, don't worry. Oh, okay.
It almost like loops back around to being funny.
I mean, it might have. The thing is, there's an alternate story in which someone else claimed that it was a friend of Homme was trying to get Hughes into death metal, and when a friend played a song by the band Vader and made the claim that the song was within the death metal genre, Homme then referred to Vader as the Eagles of death metal. And then Hughes wondered what a cross between the Eagles and a death metal band would sound like. And that's why the band exists.
Well, you know what? They can be the Eagles of getting a better band name. That's what I think. As we know, my opinions are law.
What about the Wings of getting a better band name?
Incidentally, Caius were originally called Sons of Caius, which is a reference to AD&D.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Y'all, I really went from being in, like, never having played D&D in my life to possibly being in 2 campaigns at once.
Oh my.
But the real question, Trey, is are you winning?
Well, it depends on whether or not one considers D&D a game that can be.
Oh, it absolutely can.
But I'm enjoying myself at any rate. So there's that.
The way that you win D&D is you make the GM go, ah. That's how you win a D&D.
That's valid.
I feel like I've basically gone down to an area where I'm like woefully under-equipped to handle anything happening down here.
Hey, going off half-cocked is the best way to go.
So they say.
So they say.
Something Cox. Something.
Alright.
Something.
Alright. Look, we all have fun here.
Indeed. Especially me.
Well, here I am.
Oh boy.
Can I actually buy anything over here this time? Digging. What is any of this? I'll buy this, I guess? Like, how does this work, though? Spells. What do I... Oh! Hold on. Do I like... Yeah, okay. You can change what's in the wand.
Heinzis says, me and my group started a new campaign last weekend. We did a session 0 for character creation and info dump. The DM, who does not watch anime for the record, created a scenario where we, the players, get isekai into Eberron.
Oh no.
That actually sounds awesome. Ours, I think that we're, like, for our second campaign, we're just, well, for my second campaign, it's the first one that we're doing. I'm just like we're in a homebrewed like setting or whatever that we came up with ourselves. But the other one's gonna be in Eberron, so there's that.
There's a lot of these guys, huh?
Oh, by the way, Mur, Steely Dan are better than
There's a lot of these guys,
the
huh?
Eagles. I don't care that they are just Eagles. I'm
Cause of
gonna
death.
keep saying that to be
Explosion. Bodhisattva, I'm gonna sell my house in town.
What?
Yes, I'll be there to sparkle, to shine in your Japan, sparkle in your China. Bodhisattva, Bodhisattva.
Bodhisattva, Bodhisattva.
Shredney mentioned Steely Dan, and that is the only Steely Dan song that I know even any part of. But it was in Rock Band 3, so I know it well.
Yeah, it's also a weird example of a song that technically wasn't a single, but is very well known and got a lot of airplay despite that.
Right.
Yeah.
Just like Old Town Road. I don't know why I said that. Don't ignore me. This
Wow.
is technically
Okay.
my show, but I'm very much like half checked out right now because I just don't know what's going on with this game yet. What does this do?
Picked up a new magic wand like
Whoa.
Igor.
Hey, I like that album.
Yeah, I was about to say something earthquake, something.
Allows you to push objects. Okay.
My brother said that album sucks, but he has bad taste, so...
He likes Sword Art Online. His opinions are invalid.
Isn't your brother a big...
That is correct.
Nah, I'm thinking of somebody else. Never mind. What music does Bailey listen to?
He really liked Juice WRLD prior to that happening, and
Yeah.
he really liked, let's see, kind of stuff in that similar sort of space, so, unfortunately, X, and, let's see,
Right. Yeah.
several other things. Yeah, but, you know, it's not all terrible. I just can't think of anything off the top that strikes me as not inherently bad. I liked some of Juice's songs, I'll admit.
I don't think he was a bad artist. I think, like, unfortunately, he was somebody who was kind of just starting to find his own sound, and, you know,
Yeah.
now will not get to do that, which is very sad.
And he had a few songs where he clearly was moving in that direction, and then so it's kind of depressing to
Yeah.
go back to that and be like, hey, this guy had a lot of potential and is dead. Yeah.
What's going on right now in this game? Well, Captain.
We're over here doing
Alright,
wizard
Mark.
shit. That's what's happening.
So,
Picked up golden nugget.
Yeah, I got some money. That's cool. Good night,
Does-
Mer.
if wizard shit is involved here, does that mean that like we all have like really big hair and like really tight pants, and we're all
Hold
playing
on.
guitar licks that go.
Hold on. Yeah, I thought I knew.
Sing
I
about
thought
fucking hobbits.
I thought we were
I'm
on
gonna
the same
sing about
page,
fucking hobbits.
and then we
This is gonna
suddenly
fucking
were
suck.
not. What? It's like a band called Wizard.
No, I was just thinking of like the kind of bands that sing about wizard shit, and it's all like power metal and prog rock.
I'm gonna prog your rock.
And
Some
they
Dragon
all
Force
have-
type shit.
And they all have yeah, or like I don't know, Jethro Tull. And I don't seriously have anything against Jethro Tull, but at the same time, it's like, goddamn with the twiddling.
I kind of like Yes,
Yes, are
Who-
good.
who are the worst named band ever.
They're not the worst named band
Look,
ever. I can
And
think
in terms
much
of
worse.
like simply being difficult to talk about, they're up there.
Uh,
I mean, isn't exactly easy to say either.
and there are two bands with that name, by the way.
Yes,
They're
or
spelled like just three chick noises in a row.
three exclamation marks.
One is a series of three exclamation marks, and the much earlier band, who are from Australia, it's a series of arrows pointing in three different directions.
See, I've never heard of that one. I know the other one because I actually like the other one.
I mean, yeah, they also did a decent, cover of the more recent one. Did a fairly decent cover of, although I think the original is better, but but even like a not perfect cover of it is still like decidedly listenable. Of the Magnetic Fields Take Ecstasy with Me, which is one of my favorite songs like ever. And contrary
Neat.
to the title, is extremely sad. But it's also a dance song. It's a very curious song.
I don't know about this game. Gonna need to think
I
that
don't
one
think
over.
Yes has the worst SEO, but it's up there.
Why don't we just play some Spelunky? How about that?
God, I'm trying to think of like some really bad band names that aren't like offensive.
Well, Puddle of Mud.
That's a really bad name, yeah.
What about Skillet?
That's pretty bad, yes. No,
Any band
like-
name that's just like a noun, I'm like, you need to. Unless it's like a very specific noun, I'm like, you need to try a little harder.
yeah.
Like people don't think about this because the band is like really successful, but like Train.
Yeah, that's not a. I mean, there are bands that can get away with that, but there aren't many.
I think you could get away with that in like the 60s. Train formed in like 1998 or something.
Yeah, like most of the bands that I can think of, are from like, I guess the 60s and 70s. Like Rainbow is not an awful name, but like it is a very 60s band name.
I think you actually could make the case that Train are very representative of American rock music as of like 2010. Is that a good thing? No, but
No,
know.
it's not. Wait a second, I need to switch earbuds.
Tredney, I feel like these earbuds that you got, they like their battery. Something's wrong with the battery.
You would be probably correct. They're really old. And
Really
also, like,
old
they run down
wireless
really...
earbuds.
Well, part of it is they're really old, and they run down really fast when you... Like, I can't turn off the built-in microphone on them, so
Weird.
when I'm using them, they
That
just...
was close.
But at the same time, I was using them for, like, 3 hours before or 2 or 3 hours before we went live, so, you know, like, they were depreciating in terms of power for longer. But yeah, now I'm using, like, a pair with a cord, so that's that.
And that's the way it is.
And that's the way the cookie crumbles.
What was that?
I don't remember where that's from.
Oh, hold on. I had something I was gonna say, and then it immediately
Don't
forgot
crush
it.
Monty to death.
I'm not. I'm just gonna trap him.
Why?
Because I need to get back up there.
Oh.
Like, it's not really something I wanted to do, but... You know. Well,
Oftentimes we are forced into a difficult situation.
yeah.
Question for you guys, just randomly out of nowhere because my mind is wandering to them. How do you feel about the Chemical Brothers?
I like the Chemical Brothers.
Positively, yes. I used to kind of mildly resent them because of being petty in that their track Block Rockin' Beats was heavily based on a sample of one of my favorite 23 Skidoo songs. Actually, probably my favorite 23 Skidoo song, which is Coup. And the funny thing about it is, when I went back to listening to Block Rockin' Beats, when I'd gotten over this, it's based, like, it uses a loop of the bass line, which is actually uses 2 basses, which is interesting. But it doesn't
It's
use,
based
like, the...
Sredni Vitar regarding Block Rockin' Beats
I
by the
mean,
Chemical Brothers.
like, it's not the best song on that record. It is the best known song on that record, and it's decent, but it's honestly not the best song on that record anyway. But it's like, it's based around the dual bass part that underlies it, but not the main hook of Coup, which is the part that, like, if you've actually listened to Coup, you would normally remember, and that's interesting to me.
Well,
it's like,
yeah.
they use the part that's like dun, 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 dun. But, like, the part that everybody remembers when they actually have heard Coup is the...
Okay, well, I will be sure to make a song out of that part someday. Alright, so my timing on Spelunky is all off right now, so that's cool.
Yeah, like, fun fact about 23 Skidoo is that while Coup, which is like this horn-driven kind of funk-ish proto-electronic thing, is probably their best-known song. They started out as an industrial band, like, of the Throbbing Gristle kind of variety. And that's actually very audible even in the work on that album.
Yeah.
But, like, I notice you've neglected to mention whether or not they had any Block Rockin' Beats.
I mean, I would consider that, or some of the other stuff on, like, Urban Gamelan.
I wonder where the vocal sample on that song is from. Somebody would have looked that up for me. It sounds to me like an Ultramagnetic MC sample or something, but I don't actually know.
Wait, does Block Rockin' Beats contain the the GI Fuck You sample, which is in Coup. I can't remember.
I don't know what you're talking about.
Schooly
so I
D,
don't-
by the way.
Oh, it's a
Schooly
Schooly
D. Oh, that
D
makes
record. Okay.
that makes perfect sense. But yeah, Coup. I guess, well, less proto-electronics, more like surprisingly hip-hop influenced, actually, which is appropriate given the whole that it later was sampled by one of the quintessential big beat bands. It's like, yeah, like there is very prominent sampling of the Viet Cong slogan "GI fuck you" throughout the song.
Yeah, no, that's definitely not in Block Rocket Beats.
Oh yeah.
you think I would remember that?
Oh yeah, it's very memorable.
I mean, to
yeah,
be honest, I've literally never heard of 23 Skidoo before today, so...
They're good. Also were an influence on Meat Beat Manifesto.
I've heard of them.
Yeah, also good.
They have a funny name.
Yeah. Who also did a cover of the song Asbestos Let It Asbestos by, I can't remember the name of that band. Who are another, like, weird, like, 80s post-punk outfit.
Huh. Well, this is weird. Oh god, I blew up the ghost pot. This run's probably over.
I mean... But hey, you got to the black market.
Yeah,
Are you chased by a ghost in the black market?
Yeah, also I don't have any money, really. Like, I got... Like... Hold on a second. It's gotta be enough money for me to buy paste.
Oh no,
But,
now you're being chased by two ghosts.
Yeah, they do that if you don't
I know.
die quick enough. There is enough money for me to buy a jar of paste.
Just gotta get past the ghost.
Can I do this and leave? Let's find out. My guess is no, because they're gonna split into even more in a second. Fuck. Yep, okay. I'm cornered.
And they get faster too,
Yep.
don't they?
Yep.
Fuck. That sucks. Wait, why didn't you run in the other direction? Because that's where the door is.
Because I thought that there was a ladder down there.
Okay.
You should feel what I feel. You should take one.
Oh no, you did it again.
Why did I order a pizza? What?
No, I said, oh no, you did it again.
No, Gogo asked me that. I don't know what the context was.
Oh.
But yeah, like, I'm not 100%, like, I don't know if I like enough of their work to really call myself a fan, but with the Chemical Brothers, I feel like when they get it wrong, they get it wrong, but when they get it right, they really do get it right.
Did anybody else always used to confuse the Chemical Brothers and the Crystal Method? Even though their music
yes.
is like not really that
A little
similar.
bit, yeah. They're not,
They're
but like I guess the naming like has a similar
Yeah.
energy to it, even though they are
Yeah.
very different. They are very different.
What was other music from that time? You guys remember Soul Wax? Whatever happened to them?
I don't know.
They were like
Dang.
what I don't know. Trey, what would you call Soul Wax? Like a mashup?
Or like
group?
kind of like, yeah, house, you know, like they call it on Wikipedia electronic alternative rock and alternative dance, which, yeah, I guess. Yeah, kind of in that sort of like dance punk era style stuff, because I guess like they've been around since the 90s, but they were really popular like within, like, I want to say the mid 2000s.
Yeah.
Huh.
Remember, there was like one point where like you couldn't find like any like prominent dance record without there being a Soul Wax remix on there somewhere, because like they did a lot of remixes.
Mhm.
DJ Shadow, LCD Sound System, Hot Chip, Chemical Brothers, MGMT, Dizzy Rascal, more LCD Sound System, Tame Impala, Robin, Jaguar Ma.
What are you looking at?
They've done remixes for all of them. Arcade Fire. The list of the different remixes that Soul Wax have done. Muse, Ladytron, Kylie Minogue, Felix the House Cat. Yeah, there's a lot here.
Felix the
Daft
House
Punk.
Cat. I remember that guy.
Yeah.
Is it the guy that made
Felix
Silver,
makes good music.
fucking Silver Screen or whatever the hell it was called? Or was that somebody else?
Yeah, Silver Screen Shower Scene.
That's it.
I-
Yeah.
Silver Screen Shower Scene was him and Miss Kitten.
Yeah.
I occasionally confuse Felix the House Cat with Panther du Prince. Shamefully, perhaps. Who is a...
I mean,
I don't think I know that one.
nobody.
Panther du Prince is more of like an ambient house kind of guy.
Mm-hmm.
Has done a fair amount of remixing of slightly more experimental people, like I think Black Dice, actually. Animal Collective.
Huh.
Like, he's been working in the genre for a long time, I know that.
Do you guys ever wonder what Tobacco is doing?
I mean, he did that record with Aesop Rock.
Yeah, that was almost 2 years ago.
Yeah.
But no, I just meant like in general.
I don't know.
That guy's weird.
Question: does tobacco smoke?
I like you'd imagine such, because otherwise, why would he? Really?
You got double
Oof.
shot. Ooh.
All right.
Oh yeah, Heinz's. Why did you have to remind me that Train did a Led Zeppelin cover album?
Now, Shredney, I don't mean to be rude, but he did say that like literally half an hour ago.
Yeah, but I didn't notice, and now I'm sad.
They did do an entire
Yes.
like end-to-end cover of Led Zeppelin 2.
Why?
You know, sometimes you just gotta do it.
To make it more leaden, of course.
I mean, well, yes, Leaden indeed.
You guys ever seen that interview with what the fuck is his name? Pat Montague or whatever?
Pat Monahan.
Matt Monahan. And they ask him to name his influences, and it's just like an ultra generic list of influential rock musicians, none of whom sound anything remotely like Train.
I'm not surprised.
I do wonder what goes through that guy's head, because, you know, like, I don't think Train are a good band. They have a couple songs that are, yes, Hefty Bag.
Hefty Bag.
They have a couple songs that I like, but a lot of the time, like, his music just is very there, and then the lyrics are, you know, Hefty Bag.
Or whatever the fuck is going on.
Grocery bag.
Or whatever the fuck is going on in Hey Soul Sister.
Yeah, like, I don't know what's up with that song.
It's a song.
Like, why are all their lyrics so gross?
It's an in-joke between myself and my best friend.
I mean...
Hey Soul Sister by Train?
Yeah.
Oh Lord.
Just because it's indicative of like that awful time period where we were both like middle schoolers, and thing was kind of the way that the pop landscape was, like sort of that and Down by Jay Sean. And I personally had like a thing. I personally had a thing for Fireflies, but that one's like just a meme in general now.
I mean that.
I actually like Down. It's
like, okay.
It's a very like goofy song, but
Yeah, I can understand a defense of Fireflies.
I like Fireflies.
I love that song still.
I don't
love that
have
song
a problem
still.
with that song.
I don't know if I've ever heard another Owl City song, which is not on him, that's on me, but like...
I've heard a tiny handful of them.
I, meanwhile, still know most of the words to the album that one is from, and then some. Yeah, I was that guy as like a 12, 13-year-old. Although I ended up having like the thing where I checked the YouTube comments for Fireflies' video, and people at that time were like, "This is just a copy of the Postal Service's Give Up" or whatever. They were saying it sounded just like Such Great Heights.
No,
But,
it doesn't. What?
A, no.
What the fuck?
B, listening to that kind of took me from, okay, you go to the Postal Service, and then from there you get to Death Cab, but also like Dintel's work and his other aliases that he's put out, so like James Figurine and his work with Figurine the Band and all the other shit that he's done, because like he has a lot of work. Just in several different genres and such.
Yeah. I don't know, that's just like... I like vaguely remember that criticism, but it never made any sense to me. Like, the only thing that... Like, it's the same, like, band setup, I guess? Like, it's a guy singing and synthesizers, but, like... Owl City and Postal Service don't really sound very similar.
Yeah,
It's like
Owl City is way more...
The tone is the... Yeah, the tone is the most important part of that distinction there, where, like, both of them are dealing with, like, some subject matter that's, like, melancholy, but, like, the Postal Service are very upfront about that most of the time. Sometimes they do the Owl City thing where it is, like, kind of hidden under the surface of, like, a peppy, like, pop vocal and, like, sound. So, like, something like We Will Become Silhouettes, for instance, far greater resembles the whole setup of like how Owl City does it, where like his lyrics, like Fireflies for instance, being about the losing the nostalgia of youth, like that whole deal.
Wait, is that what this song's about? I like never picked up on that somehow.
He like hints at it through like insomnia and like the idea of like trying to capture like childhood in like a moment, so the fireflies in a jar is a metaphor for that.
That makes sense. I guess at least that's
one
it, yeah.
At least that's one interpretation I've like read and like choose to accept for myself. Some people just like accept the idea that it's about dancing in one's room with a bunch of bugs.
I mean, it could be about both,
I mean, also,
it could.
I was also going to say that in terms of style, not necessarily content, but in terms of style, that Owl City kind of strike me as a bit more twee.
Yeah.
Like, whereas, and I think that's why people rag on them so hard. Or him, rather.
Yeah.
And it's like, whereas... And also the fact that his vocal timbre is vaguely similar to Ben Gibbard's.
I guess.
Yeah. Is the comparison.
Eh.
It's one of those things where like I
I
feel
can
like
hear it, but it's
I feel like
incorrect.
you kind of have to want that to be true to think it is. You know what I mean?
I will
It's
say
like-
my Gibbard impersonation is much better than my Young impersonation. So there's that.
Gibbard and Young sounds like a law firm.
It does.
It does.
I might just think that because it's two last names.
No, they sound like lawyers.
I've also said this about Run the Jewels.
Like, how so?
Well, I've suddenly forgotten LP's last name, so now the joke doesn't work. Hold on.
I'm gonna have to
Let's
I'll
see.
look.
His name's Jamie Song.
Moline and Render.
Yeah, Moline.
Render and Moline.
Yeah, I feel like that also sounds
There you
like a
go.
law firm.
Okay, that sounds like a fucking, like, New Jersey law firm.
Also, I feel like Killer Mike is the person on Earth who least needs a rap name since his real name is Mike Render. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
It kind of sounds like a, what is it called? Like, a slightly tongue-in-cheek, like, death metal alias?
I mean, I guess, I don't know.
Render?
I think it just sounds like a rap name.
I mean, like, to rend things?
I know
You
what
know?
rend means, Trendy, that's my point.
I know, it's just like... Just thinking, Mike Render of Souls.
No. Like, you...
I'm easily...
Well, that would fit the killer description.
It would.
My man really did drop oodles in a bar.
Did he? What was that?
It was one of the ones on Run the Jewels 2. I forget which
Oh,
song, but
That would be why I don't remember it. I don't listen to that one super often. But that's just my onion. But
Know your onion.
know your onion.
let's
It-
see. There we go. Blockbuster Night Part 1. Bunches and bunches. Punches is thrown to a frontless. Oodles and oodles. Bang bullets as suckles noodles.
Huh. Really makes you think.
Sometimes you just gotta... Noodles.
Use your noodle. Use your brain.
And I got her. Grocery bag.
Grocery bag.
And I guess with the noodle thing, something got an otter.
I'll stick to you like glue, baby.
I've said this before, I like Bedrock. I think it's a good song. And I have never really understood the viral and hatred a lot of people have for it.
I just find it funny that people like got like hooked on that one for like being bad. It's not bad per se. It's just like, you know, patently straightforward in a way that a lot of rap music is not.
I
Like,
guess.
you know exactly what they're you know exactly what they're trying to do, which is to make like this big ol' this big old group jam or whatever, like, which you know, sure,
Yeah.
in the days prior to Brockhampton being a thing, I guess that's like the closest that mainstream rap music was like willing to get, which is just this big like crew record.
Like,
Just get everybody
Well,
on Young
well-
Money to be there for a little bit.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
there was like, you know, the Diplomats and stuff, but that was a very different sound, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just I don't know. There have like posse cuts as a thing haven't been as much of a thing for a while.
Yeah, no, I don't know. Like, when was the last time one actually charted? There's a question for you.
Yeah. Oh, I mean, well, recently there was a reggaeton posse cut that actually charted.
Actually, no. I hold on. I know exactly what the answer to that is. It was the What's Poppin' remix. Jack fucking Harlow of all people.
Huh.
Because that's
like,
well, that's 4 people, which is like borderline, I guess. But like, I mean, that's Jack Harlow, Tory Lanez, The Baby, and Lil Wayne.
Yeah, although that strikes me as less posse cut territory. I don't know. Like,
why?
Like, they don't have the close enough association with each other for it to really count.
I get, like,
At least not yet.
I guess. Thank you, Invisible Bat.
where?
I guess the question is like, do you consider it to be a posse cut only if they're all like, you know, affiliated in some way?
That's true.
Because if
I also sort of typically think of it as like usually more than 4 people. Like, is generally how I think of it.
well, that's what I said. It's kind of like a borderline example.
borderline.
I guess.
But I was going to say, in terms of, like, as I said, in terms of if you're counting outside of hip-hop, there's Tebote, which was not very good, but that's a different matter.
I don't think I know that one.
It's like 6 or 7 minutes long. It has a lot of notable reggaeton people on it.
No.
And it's a riddle, really...
So does the Gex
What?
So does the Gex remix of Ringtone with Eric?
Oh yeah, that charted.
XCX and Rico Nasty.
That did chart.
It did?
Yeah, like not very high, but it did.
It did? Holy shit.
That and the Hand Crushed by a Mallet remix both charted.
Really?
Yeah.
That is the only blessed thing I have heard about the charts in 2020. Okay,
that was last year. Like the
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like last year. Like from
2021 is starting off with some. Well, I guess this is all still closing stuff of last year, but like fucking that Ash Nico song where she made a remix with Hatsune Miku on it charted also.
Oh yeah. Oh. Other slightly positive thing was how weirdly long, like, Blinding Lights was in the top 10.
Yeah.
Like, actually, like an actually good song for once. Jesus Christ.
The music that I like tends to, like, if it charts, tends to top out somewhere around, like, 25, in my experience. Not always.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I like Blinding Lights, too, But yeah, no, did, like, anybody else hear about this? Am I alone in being late to the party with, Daisy, I think the song was called?
I either forgot about it or did not know.
Let's see.
I don't think I knew about that one.
Yeah, like, I mean, I honestly don't really know.
Miku showing up on the Billboard charts?
Yeah, like, I don't really even know who Ash Nico is, or, like, didn't until that happened. But apparently
I heard
she's
the name before.
Been, like, somewhat popular for a while, and like the way that Billboard measures remix charting is very weird. So, like, I don't know, because, like, the original song and the remix are counted as, like, the same thing, so it's kind of hard to tell how much of that is actually for the remix, but still. Yeah, no, it's called Daisy. It's a good song.
Wow, I can't believe the inventor of Minecraft is showing up on the top charts.
good. Everything is okay.
Alright, Catbug.
Don't ever call me Catbug again.
I haven't seen that show in years.
Is that still going?
It's so I think that they wrapped it up after season 4 because like it's been what 3 years now and there hasn't been any word of the original actual show coming back. But they are apparently working on a Catbug spin-off. So
I see. Interesting. I guess I should leave this floor before I jinx myself into oblivion.
Not that you won't.
Oblivion and not Skyrim.
Oh fuck, oh god, Todd, no.
He's coming for Indiana Jones now.
Whoa, whoa. Todd, what have you done with my family? It's probably not very, like it doesn't reflect on my sense of humor very well, but I do really find the memes where Todd Howard is some kind of sinister figure very funny. Now, if you ever want to see your family again, you're going to buy a copy of Skyrim for the PS5, and you're going to do it right now.
Why the PS5?
I don't know. It's just, you know, it's the new one. Actually,
it's the new thing.
Yeah.
Hey, you're finally awake.
Hey, you. Finally awake. Apparently, Elder Scrolls Online also starts with you, being, like, woken up while on a wagon, which is really funny. It's like,
They know what works, alright?
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. So I learned a cool trick about the dice in this game. If you whip them while they're rolling, they will always be either a 1 or a 6. Which helps you win the casino games a lot more consistently.
All or nothing, baby.
Yeah. Freeze ray.
Are these prizes actually worth?
Like the camera, definitely not. But if you get one, like another one shows up. And if you completely clear them out, you get access to a secret area later.
Oh, neat.
Which is worth going to. Whoops. Don't really want this, to be honest. Whoa. Careful. High roller, eh? Come see me at my palace of pleasure. Okay. I did it.
That's vaguely suggestive.
Look, I didn't name it, okay?
I know, but I'm saying, are you being come onto by a walrus?
Okay, phrasing?
I
Shredney?
I did not mean it in that specific sense of it. I meant in
No.
Shredney?
I meant being hit on, okay? You're being hit on by a walrus.
I mean, I'm sure there's people who are into that.
Yeah, tonight on Shapes and Forms, we get TOS'd.
No, that's not even... Merely being hit on by a walrus does not get you TOS.
But that's not what you said, is it?
That's not what I meant, and you know it.
Stop calling her the Milfress, okay? I don't approve of this.
The milk walrus.
Wow, that's even more cursed than what Shredney said. Jesus Christ.
But how mom is she really?
Stop.
Like, I mean, that is the important question.
No. Okay, where's the dog?
What
Where-
happened to the dog?
Where are you, Montgomery? Well, I mean, I got poisoned, so I need Monty, like, now.
Now. Okay.
Okay, well, I'm down my weapon, which is annoying, but at least I'm still alive. She says, knowing that she might jinx it at any moment, really.
I mean, yeah.
Then parrot.
Onward and downward.
God damn it, Jane.
What?
Just making things even worse than they already are.
Like,
How dare you?
I didn't say it. You did.
Yes, but you interpreted it in the worst possible way. You chump. You jerk.
Don't call me a chump. Chump you in the next week.
What separates the champs from the chumps?
What?
Separates the champs from the chumps. It's
I mean,
a valid question.
It's not an invalid one. Certainly.
Look, I mean,
I almost wonder
Are you
if I
crushing Yetis with your feet?
should,
Smells like wet fur in here.
I almost wonder if I should just, like, try to head down, like, just by, like, yep, okay, we can totally skip that. Good to know. I still don't know what the idle traps down here do. Never had any
you
reason
could
to.
find out.
I could fuck around and find out.
Exactly.
Oh.
Oh, neat.
That, apparently. Alright. Now, if I can just get to the floor after this one, I think that's where the secret
Hey, look,
area
it's your
is.
noble steed.
I am not messing around with that axolotl. I'm sorry to tell you.
God damn it.
Does this just stay on permanently? Alright,
And that's why you get an axolotl.
That would not help me in any way.
Yes, it would.
Maybe morale-wise, but...
Yes, exactly.
Hey, bud. What's this all about?
Oh, he just got incinerated.
That looks like it's about to blow up. Just gonna hang out up here. Yeah, okay.
Good call.
Maybe it's the floor after this. There's a thing that comes up when you get there.
Man, these walls got unicorns and shit.
Me when I'm looking at buying the house of my dreams.
Wait, can you feed the little brain men to the shrine?
Probably. Not gonna try.
What
to do
about
it, though.
feeding this terrifying Sumerian death beast?
Shredney? Do you hate me? Have I done something to you?
Or rather, Babylonian death beast.
There it is.
Yes.
Really putting the baby in Babylon.
What?
What?
Come right in. Madame is expecting you. Yeah, let me get to 26 HP.
Neat.
Do you guys say anything? No? I guess not. Okay. Can I have this? Alright. Well, thanks. Oh, Lord. Getting out of there.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well,
Interesting.
Skirt.
Huh.
Oh, no. No, 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 no. Okay. Do they serve turkey at a brothel? Like, please. Like,
I mean,
come on.
possibly.
If you're
It
gonna
could be a-
make
it's a classy brothel.
if you're gonna make, you know, what's that word again? Lascivious jokes.
Yeah.
At least have them make sense. That's all I ask. Now, I have only ever beaten the boss here once. Fuck. Wow, that didn't kill me. I'm amazed. I think you kind of just toss them. And hope you hit more than you miss.
Your booty don't stop, don't miss.
I know she can be killed this way. I've seen people do... Actually, hold up. No? Yes, okay. That did hurt her, but not enough. Can I actually get up there and, like, attack her? Wow, really? I might be dead. Not yet, okay. Well,
You gotta be careful, though.
yeah, no, like, definitely. Like, definitely.
Yeah, this is precarious.
Procurl.
B, do you mind?
Open up the baby bumblebee.
Fuck.
How
Well, that's all my bombs.
how much health does she have?
She actually doesn't have that much, but I only hit her with the bombs like twice.
Oh.
Because you have to hit her in the face. Okay, I won.
Oh. Neat.
That is the regular ending of Spelunky.
Oh.
I think this is the first time I beat it on stream.
You.
Oh. Neat.
I'm gonna let the credits play while I use the restroom quick.
Okay. I
Yoke.
am going to run and get something to eat very quickly. I'll be back in
And
a
thus
sec.
it falls.
As usual, yes, do a little dance, etc., etc. Don't make a little love
Do
on
a
stream.
little dance, make a little love, get down tonight.
Don't do that on stream. That will be a violation of TOS.
Well, lucky for you and our audience, I'm just like a bottle of olive oil. I'll let you think about that one.
Oh God. If Jane were here, I think we'd be fired out of a cannon. Oh dear. Anyway, I'll be back in a sec.
Easy. Big boys rolling with the big stuff. Feels so clean like a money machine. Oh yeah. So wait, you're telling me that there are 100 of that guy Gex? There's 100 of him? I thought there were only 3. I could have sworn there were only 3 Gexes. No, there's 100. Where's the other 97? Which I need answers. Square Enix needs to explain these crimes.
What happened? What's up?
Why are so how come? So we know that there are at least 3 Gex 3D Enter the Gecko and Gex 3D Cover Gecko. But what about the other 97? Because apparently there's 100 of these motherfuckers.
I'm going to destroy the planet. Well, you see, the main thing that people won't ever tell you about 100 Gex is that, they're a good musical group, actually.
Actually, 100 Gex fucks.
Well, I don't know if I'd say that.
And that's what the government doesn't want you to know.
100 Gex fucks, and that's what the government doesn't want you to know.
Forever, whatever, 2021.
We're starting the year
You can
off,
quote
right?
me on that.
Well, you win some, you lose some. Can't win them all.
Well, you're pretty winsome.
What does it mean to be winsome?
Let's. I was playing a game of threes and I accidentally did the wrong thing and ended my game while I was trying to look this up. Winsome. Attractive or appealing in appearance or character. A winsome smile, for instance.
Let's see. When is
Dang,
it
that was
here?
a good game too. Fuck.
When is winsome?
I was born in the Triad, North Carolina. Pretty winsome Salem.
What?
Winston Salem is the city where I was originally born.
I was born in Allentown, Pennsylvania.
Dude.
Which is a city. I don't know how obvious it is. I have like a pretty bad migraine. I feel like my commentary is just not there today.
Happens to the best of us.
I suppose.
What
it
you
does.
are is made of gold.
Yeah, like, Ao, I believe his name is pronounced, is a good character.
Trust the Midas touch.
Yeah. You gotta ring the bell.
You can ring my bell.
You can
Ring my
ring
bell.
my bell. My bell. That was a good moment.
It was.
That's the kind of thing people would clip if we had clippers. Wow. Just an utter waste of a rope. Ari Sakura Fames? What? What's that mean? Is that Latin? Or French? Or Bologna?
Cause Oscar Mayer has a way with B-O-L-O-G-N-A.
Fuck. You ever think about how weird that jingle is?
It is pretty weird.
If I were an Oscar Mayer wiener, everyone would be in love with me. It really... I don't know. There's something about it. It's like... I wouldn't say off-putting, but definitely unusual.
Awkward. It's a weird one.
Yeah. We'll have to ask
It means the
Freddy.
cursed hunger for gold.
What? Go, you gotta...
Ari Sakura.
Oh, okay. Why does it... Right, because my man is made out of gold. I understand. I think he's just enlightened. I think this is what happens to you when you reach enlightenment.
Spiritual nirvana.
Yeah. Ayu, John Madden. He is called that because he's made of gold. Yes, I know. AU is the chemical symbol for gold. I'll take your whole shop? Yeah, thanks.
A big spender.
A spender is a spender. Big spender, baby. I feel like that. I can't help but feel like that guy was exaggerating when he said his Chrysler was as big as a whale,
Yeah, probably.
and was quote about to set.
He might
sail.
have to settle for this.
Just a what?
He might just have to settle for an elephant instead, because they actually do make.
What do they make?
Chryslers as large as elephants. Yeah, you've never heard of it? The Chrysler pack.
What? Oh. Gonna fucking destroy you. The Chrysler Pachyderm. Oh, also Trey, I think your mic sensitivity is a little too high, or too low, or whichever one makes it not pick you up sometimes when you say things.
I might still have noise suppression on. Hang up.
Wah.
There we go.
Yeah. There you go. Hey, Shredney. I hear her
Hello
coming
there.
back. Hey, Shredney.
What?
How do you feel about the Chrysler Pachyderm?
What is the Chrysler Pachyderm?
It's as big as an elephant.
I don't even know what the joke is.
Well, you see, the joke is that pachyderm is a funny word.
I mean, sure, yeah. Like, that is not factually inaccurate. But
Well, you know what they say.
What do they say, Jane?
Got a Chrysler, it's as big as a whale, it's about to set sail.
what?
You know that song.
Which one?
Love Shack?
Oh,
I haven't listened to Love Shack in years.
Okay, well that's a personal failing, I can't help you with that.
personal failing.
Where we can get together.
Love
I
Shack,
mean-
maybe.
There are other B-52 songs though.
Like Rock Lobster.
I mean that's true, but there are also yet other B-52 songs.
Look, I'm sure there are,
Like Rome.
but like,
Yeah, like
are any of them as much of a meme as Love Shack? I would say no.
no, they're not. See, I don't base my listening entirely on memes,
That's where your problem is.
let alone vaguely stale memes.
Don't you ever call Love Shack stale ever again.
I didn't say that Love Shack itself was stale. I said the meme was stale.
I think if Lexi heard you disrespecting the B-52s like this, she would destroy
I wasn't
you.
disrespecting the
with her own
B-52s. I'm
hands.
disrespecting people who, like, don't give a shit about the B-52s, but know them from the meme song. You know, you know what the internet kids call plebs, I think is the term.
Love Shack X Psycho theme? What?
I mean, okay, fair enough. That was a okay. That's a. I don't know how I feel about that mashup. I know it's a Neil Cicierega thing.
Neil Cicierega, far Cicierega, wherever you are, Cicierega.
Wherever you are, Cicierega, my heart will go
By far,
Zuriga.
like, the worst musical opinion that I have is that I think that My Heart Will Go On is, like, actually pretty good.
It would be better, and I'm sure that this exists as, and this is probably a worse musical opinion, as like a propulsive dance track.
I mean, yeah, no, that definitely exists. That's one of those songs where, like, you could just throw like canned disco underneath it, and it mostly works.
Where's the Soul Wax remix of Celine Dion?
Oh no. Just
Shit, I might do that now. That seems like it wouldn't be that hard to make that work.
You have to have like the trance synths though.
I mean, those are not hard. Those are not hard to get your hands on.
No,
There's like literally a preset in Citrus that's like, hey.
And in Serum, I think. Also.
And in Serum, like half of all VSTs that exist.
It's the Super Saw. Everyone knows the Super Saw. It's also like the essential.
I'm dead.
It's also kind of the essential musical component of. Yes, I see.
Wait. Okay. Sure. Yeah. This is
of like
the fuck?
Have you ever heard anything by V&V Nation?
No. Give me a moment to get out of this particular pickle.
Help it.
And I will. Okay, never mind. I'm dead. Yeah, go on.
But V&V Nation they started out sort of as like an electro-industrial band, kinda, but they have very sentimental lyrics and like big sweeping chord progressions and things, and they really like trance synths.
I see.
And their style is kind of what's sometimes known as future pop, is the term.
I don't think I've ever heard that word in my life.
Look up their song Genesis, and you will get an idea. Their vocalist is an Irish guy who enunciates very, very well.
Hell yeah, I love the Blue Nile. Blue Nile or Scottish. That's like actually an offensive thing to say. I apologize.
I mean, you could have been like mean in a completely different direction and say, "Hell yeah, I love Dexy's Midnight Runners."
I mean, I feel like that's a flattering comparison.
I mean,
people like Dexys.
Yes, but Kevin Rowland and enunciating they haven't met.
I suppose that's true. I mean, people like
see also
the Nile too.
See also the dude from the 1975.
Oh, the 1975 are one of those bands that I've never cared about, but even the people who have cared about them are starting to turn on them.
Dang.
I don't know anything about them other than that they signed Pale Waves, who are a band that I kind of like.
They were a, sort of dancey, rockish pop band, and they've gotten really fucking pretentious.
Yeah, like trying to do the whole thing where like their sound is different with like every album and everything, and like it's kind of produced some interesting results. Like they've done some stuff that's actually very UK garagey.
Huh.
Which is interesting,
and
but
apparently
aside
their
from
most recent album had some like kind of ambient, faintly like synth wavy things going on it, something like that.
Yeah.
But like they really but also like their last two albums have been like, it's a concept record about connections in our fractured digital world, and it's like,
Yeah,
oh my
I have
God, it's like a
absolutely no patience for that shit whatsoever.
It's like a fucking Pitchfork article in music form.
You say that, and I actually remember reading a review of their most recent record and from Pitchfork, and it was extremely negative. So evidently, it's not working well if they're trying to like pander to
No,
that
I
crowd.
mean, but at the same time, I think part of the rage with Pitchfork is that they see themselves.
This
They've
music
been seen.
lives in a society.
This music lives exactly. It's like what
This
that
is
dude
not what our
is on.
band could be your life means.
Yeah, it really isn't.
You know,
Yeah.
he's one of
That's
the
from,
like
the
19
Minutemen
the
song.
1975 are one of those groups that I've like I'm really bad at listening to music that I haven't heard a billion times already. And so like there's many groups where I've been like, people have been like, oh yeah, they're great, you should listen to them, and then I don't because I'm terrible.
Then I didn't.
And
But-
then I did.
But like the 1975 are a different thing where they are just a band that I have never been urged to seek anything out by.
Huh.
Like,
They have some good songs. They
yeah,
don't.
almost,
They do.
Almost every band has some
But also,
good
here's the- but
songs.
But also, here's the thing with the 1975. Their last two albums were like an hour and a half long apiece.
That's
Yeah, there's like 20 tracks on each.
no.
I think,
no.
and I think that they were originally planning on it being like one record, but they had to split it in two.
Jesus fucking
Or something
Christ!
like-
They were gonna do an album that long,
Like boys,
and it
boys,
was
we need
like,
to talk.
and with like songs in the like 3 to 6 minute range.
That's just
If
so
you're gonna
weird.
go for an obscenely long album, you should have at least a few like grandiose epics in there or some bullshit. Like, but all of their songs are mid-length, and from what I can tell on the recent records, they get old really quick.
Me listening to classical music is that long? I mean,
Yeah.
you're joking, but like, classical music is structured to be that length.
Yeah.
Pop music isn't. You can like it's much harder to make a good pop song that is too long than it is to make one that is too short. Or other way around. It's much easier to make one that is too long than it is to make one that's too short.
Yeah, like the part of the brilliance of some of Wire's early work is that their songs only last between like a minute and a half and 2.5 minutes.
Like, yeah, I mean, like, that's, I honestly don't know very much about Wire, but that's, like, one example. But, like,
The album version, they had to make Outdoor Miner longer for the single because the original one isn't 2 minutes long. So they added an instrumental break.
you know.
Just so it'd be long, so it'd be 2.5 minutes.
But, like, yeah, like, I mean, that kind of thing, you can, generally speaking, with, like, pop music structure, you can cut things away. You can't really add much. Unless you get into, like, prog rock territory, where you're doing, you're doing, reprises and, like, instrumental passages that are only broadly connected with the main song and stuff like that.
You can get fairly sophisticated with pop music structuring, but at the same time, it's like...
It's hard.
I don't know. It's not even so much. It is hard to do it in a way that it is easy to make a pop song feel flabby, and it's not necessarily because of that, but rather because of there are ways to repeat things in ways that are comfortable and ways that aren't. I guess.
But like when I think of pop musicians that make music of that length that is, you know, good, I think of like Greg Alexander, and I kind of struggle to reach for other examples.
Who is it? Greg Alexander again?
The dude from New Radicals.
Oh,
You're gonna hate me a little bit for saying it. Justin Timberlake.
No, that's fair. Yeah. Like some of the stuff on 2020 Experience, especially.
2020 Part 1 and Future Sex Love Sounds both do that, where they're like 8 minutes long.
Man, I forgot that 2020 Part 2 even existed.
For good reason. It sucks.
It's not that great, yeah. There was that. Sorry, I had a weird memory. There was that came out shortly after Kendrick Lamar's verse on Control, and for some reason a remix verse on that album is where J. Cole chose to respond to that.
J. Cole is such a twit.
And he it's not an adjective I apply to rappers very often, but he's like a dweeb. Like
he's such a, you know...
Like, I don't think he makes bad music, mostly. It's just,
like... The whole No Name response thing was some, like, serious...
Well, that was
I'm a
just
nice
terrible.
guy.
Yeah, that was just genuinely awful. But, like,
he's just vaguely misogynistic in a way that's kind of gross.
Like, broadly speaking, I don't think he's, like, a terrible rapper or anything. It's just, like... I don't know. It's
interesting.
Go on.
It's interesting because I always have like the cognitive dissonance of, you know, him being one of the few people from like North Carolina's music scene in general, but even like then like my specific area of like where I grew up and everything is not too far away from where he lived and everything. So like, you know, you kind of have that hometown pride versus like recognizing what's good and what's bad. So like, yeah. I find myself giving him a lot of like leeway in that regard.
Yeah,
but,
I mean,
like,
that's
yeah,
fair.
I get where
it's just like
I get where y'all are coming from.
Like I
yeah.
said, I largely don't think he makes bad music. It's just,
well,
it's weird to me that people like talk about him in the same terms that they talk about like Kendrick Lamar, who is
Hi, Web.
How are the shapes forming?
They're forming good.
pretty
We're talking about the rapper J. Cole. A subject I'm sure you have numerous opinions on. How are you?
What I'm incidentally,
I'm okay.
That's good.
a music reviewer who I follow on YouTube, in one of his sort of like rundowns of worst hit songs of given years, I think it was in 2019, named Middle Child as the worst hit song of the year. And I was like, and I thought about it for a bit, and then I listened to his reasoning, and I was like, I'm not sure I can disagree with his logic here. Because it's like, it is the most...
Logic is somebody else.
Shut up. But because it's like, it is the most insufferably fucking like self-important smug piece of music, and it's not good.
I don't know.
Either it's
like,
boring, and the production is leaden.
Oh no! Like I think J. Cole.
Gross.
I think J. Cole is not a good producer. Like I think he's fine as a rapper. I do not like his
it's an
beats.
ugly piece of music, and the lyrics are fucking insufferable. And it's just like, fuck you.
I don't I don't know if I remember Middle Child.
It's the
really
one with
weird,
the
like-
really, the one with the really flat horns, and he's going on about being in the middle of the, like, I think it was like the Drake Pusha T beef, and like, I'm the peacemaker, and it's like,
I
fuck.
literally don't remember this song at all.
It's not worth remembering. It sucks, but it was
Alright.
a hit.
Like, I don't know. It's weird to hear J. Cole go from stuff like, like Firing Squad, which is a song that has its issues, but it's very, like, up-tempo and energetic, and has, you hear it and you're like, oh, this kid has potential. And then years later, he's making stuff like that, and I don't really know what changed.
Well, he's always been an egomaniac, but he
That's
used to
normal
have to
for
prove
rappers,
himself.
though. I guess
What I'm
maybe,
saying is,
yeah.
there was a point where he had to prove himself, and now that he doesn't feel like he has to prove himself, then he's just like fucking wallowing in his own massive ego.
I guess.
I
This
just
was-
don't like Jake.
This
Cole.
was.
He
This
gives me
was.
bad
I think
vibes.
you are far more negative on the man than I am. I mostly
Like,
just don't care about him.
It's just like every time I've like encountered his existence, it's like I don't like this man, and I can't totally put my finger on why. But when I am actually able to like figure out what it is, it's like, oh yeah, yeah.
I am.
Yeah, that's-
Yeah, fuck that guy.
No, actually, then.
I'm
No, fuck
sorry,
that
Win. I do think in a slightly better nearby parallel universe, Sci-Hi the Prince would have J. Cole's reputation, but that's another question.
Yeah, like what I have heard of Sci-Hi's work, I would agree.
But isn't Sci-Hi the Prince also from the same area?
I'm not 100% sure.
I thought he was, but I might be wrong. I might
I
only
don't
think
know.
that because he worked with J. Cole a few times.
He's from Georgia.
He's from Georgia.
Stone Mountain,
Okay.
Georgia.
Okay.
He's from Georgia.
The Peach State.
I could have told you
Peach.
that.
Ah, I see. The land of butt.
Thank you, Shredney.
But also pie, apparently.
Is
No
Georgia
cobbler.
known for cobbler pie?
Peach cobbler, yes. Which is like.
Hey,
pie,
was Ed, Edd
but
and Eddie
like
set in Georgia?
What was Ed, Edd?
Like,
I
the
don't-
place is called Peachtree, and their high school team is called the Cobblers.
No,
I-
Jane, it takes place in Purgatory.
Look, okay, yes. We've all seen the forum posts.
Sometimes. You ever think that sometimes people are
Maybe
really
Georgia
dumb
is
about cartoons, thinking
purgatory.
they're really smart about them?
Yes. Also, I like Wynn's theory.
What was Wynn's theory?
Georgia is Purgatory.
Georgia is purgatory. I mean, we learned that from the 2020 election.
I
mean, all the time I've spent there, like with mom, yeah, kind of confirmed.
can't believe Ed, Edd and Eddie are fucking dead. You guys see that that Twitter video?
More like dead, daddy.
You guys see that Twitter video where the guy animated Ed singing fucking... What the hell is that song called? Lose Your Love by the Outfield? Yeah! The video is probably the best thing I've seen this week. It's a good time.
I mean, at least it
I
isn't.
don't want to lose your love.
tonight.
I actually really like that song. If you ask me why, I could not tell you. It's just like one of those
It's
things.
me with like most dialect.
I mean, that's fair, but like, I don't know. I feel like it's somewhat outside of my normal listening habits. Maybe not that much, I guess, now that I think about it. I like 80s pop music.
I have had the horrible realization recently that there are at least 2 Bryan Adams songs I actually like.
Which are they?
One of them is Heaven. I actually like that one.
What?
Yeah! I know, right?
That's like the
Kill me
last
now.
one I would have expected you to pick.
The lyrics aren't good,
That's
but
no, I mean
it's
like I'm
it's,
not judging you. I'm just kind of confused.
it's residual fondness based on that Eurodance cover of it from years upon years ago.
Oh, I remember that.
By an artist named Doe, who her actual name is Dominique something something. She's Belgian, I think.
Well, that is in Europe.
And like it was produced by I think a Scottish or Dutch producer. I can't remember.
The singer sounds like Ed. No, he does not. What are
But
you
the thing
talking
was
about?
that when I actually heard the Bryan Adams version, I was like, actually, I do not mind his weird croaky voice on this. It kind of works.
Bryan Adams has had. a
He's an
career.
asshole, but yeah,
You ever think about
And-
how he sued AllMusic.com?
yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's an asshole. I mean, although I also remember
No, I knew
many
what song you were
years
talking
ago
about, Gogo.
actually listening to a live, not knowing who it was, a live performance of him on Canadian radio, and being like, "Hey, this is actually decent." It's like, what? It's the terrible soft rock guy? Actually, this is decent.
I mean, I think Summer of '69 is okay.
I mean, his recent stuff, from what I could tell from that and other stuff I'd read about it. And here's actually the funny thing with the AllMusic thing. While they were very harsh on some of his work, they actually reviewed some of his albums really well. He was just having a hissy fit because the most recent couple of albums he did, they really didn't like.
I mean, you know, like Bryan Adams is one of those people where if I learned that he was like, I don't know, part of a cult, I would be like, yeah, this seems about right. Which I guess is like a not nice thing to say about somebody, but if he is upset about it, he can cry into his billions of dollars.
I don't think he has billions of dollars.
I'm exaggerating, but I'm pretty sure
He can-
he's like good.
He can, but he can cry into his fat stacks of Canadian cash.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he is Canadian. Oh no.
Well, then that cash is worth
Huh.
substantially less.
Exactly.
Just like his music. Look. He's an easy target, okay?
I mean, he really is. Like, he's not the easiest target, but he's a fairly easy one.
What are other Bryan Adams songs that I don't totally hate? Honestly, like, other than the ones that would get played on the radio, I haven't ever heard that many. It's not like I was really ever inspired to go listen to his full records, so... It's like... It's like... Cuts Like a Knife is alright? I think that's him. That might be somebody else.
I think it is. Yeah.
And it cuts like a knife.
Yes.
That's the second time in a row I've died in that exact way. Alright, well, I'm gonna turn on some Isaac now, because I am very
But, like-
low brain energy right now.
So, but, alright. In terms of, like, if we exclude Bryan Adams from the running, Who is the worst of the soft rock guys?
God, I don't know.
John Mayer.
John Mayer's a dick, so like that's definitely something to consider. I don't think John Mayer's music is that bad though. It's mostly just like unremarkable.
Isn't John Mayer actually like some
it's
crazy guitar virtuoso?
Yeah, he's done like session work on like all over the place. Which honestly, I feel like that kind of makes the fact that his own music is so mediocre worse.
Yeah, it kind of does. It's
Like-
like a weird thing where it's like, on the one hand, you know, you can respect his technical virtuosity while also being like, then why isn't your music more interesting?
Like, you know.
That's
guys-
the Kenny G, but that's also the Kenny G thing. But at the same time, Kenny G admits that his music is meant as like essentially pop background music, and that he tends to like put his more serious effort into like actual serious jazz stuff, which he does do.
Yeah, like I don't know. I sort of struggle to think of many pop rock people who I even or soft rock people who I even like have enough of an opinion on that I could say that I don't like them.
That is fair.
It's not a genre I mostly associate it with like my mom would turn it on the radio on on our way back
Yeah.
from school. And it's hard for
Also-
me to hate music like that, but I don't really seek much of it out either.
Yeah.
What the hell? It's the Ipecac syrup. It's the Ipecac syrup. Let's fucking go.
But also there's like a distinct difference between like 70s soft rock and like 80s and 90s soft rock.
Yeah, that's true.
It's true.
Richard Marx. Can I be honest with you? I have heard so little of Richard Marx's music that I could not give you an opinion on him.
I don't know what songs are by Richard Marx.
He was,
I have
he
heard
was
a tiny handful.
popular in the 80s. I don't think he like,
One
I
of
don't
those
think,
people that didn't carry over
not really. Yeah.
into the.
Yeah, he mostly
He has this
he's,
song with Celine Dion that I think is alright.
he's also done a lot of background writing,
Yeah.
which is a variable quality. Like, the guy knows how to get something horribly stuck in your head, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the songs are.
Don't Mean
Good.
Nothing is Fire Heat. I'm going to look that up after the show is over, and if you're wrong, I will destroy you with...
Also, I know
Weapons.
that he did a really strange little, like, murder ballad that, while musically kind of boring, is really interesting lyrically.
That's the thing about all these soft rock guys, right? It's like, you can't do shit like that forever, or you will lose it. So they all have these, like, weird little deep cuts.
Yeah, that one was actually a hit, though. I can't remember the title.
Okay, well, fair enough. But, like, you know what I mean.
But it was like, and that one's actually perfectly tolerable precisely because the lyrics are actually super sinister.
Yeah. But like, you know what I mean, right?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So they always have, like, either they also do music which is more interesting, like, on the side, or have, like, some weird thing going on. Like, again, with Kenny G holds the world record for longest sustained note by a human being.
Yeah, like, that's the kind of thing where it's just like, huh,
He is
okay.
He is on a level of technical virtuosity that very few people can achieve. And he does, as I said, he does some more serious jazz session work. Like, the guy he does take his craft very seriously. It's just that he also makes, like, the most boring elevator music on earth, and it's Precisely because, hey, sometimes you just
Yeah, that's been playing in my head since we brought up Kenny
Yeah.
G.
Did you know that Kenny G has a licensed board game?
Oh my god, yeah, I vaguely remember that.
We talked about that one once.
Yeah,
Right?
I saw it for sale at Target once.
Oh
I
my
was like,
god.
oh, alright. I sort of struggle to imagine what kind of person would buy that, other than, you know,
I
Kenny
would.
G. Okay, well, you're, you know, I don't...
I'd buy it ironic.
Maybe
You're
that's-
essentially-
Maybe that's the intended
Yeah.
market.
Oh, well, okay, only semi-ironically, because I don't really believe in ironic enjoyment, but it's more like there's a humor to its existence that appeals to me.
Yeah. Actually, like, a soft rock group that I genuinely like, and this is not really a hot take anymore, although it used to be, is the Goo Goo Dolls.
Yeah, that's not a hot take at all.
Yeah,
Like,
they
people
have
who've actually heard their albums are
enjoyed
like...
a critical
Yeah.
renaissance recently, which I don't really
Yeah.
know why, but sure.
Like, people who've actually heard their deep cuts and stuff are like, they are a very solid band. They also
Actually-
apparently are really good live.
I actually
So
like their singles too. Like, I really like Iris.
Yeah. Yeah, Iris is fine. Yeah. I have nothing against the Goo Goo Dolls. I will not speak ill of them.
You know who fucking sucks?
Who?
Who?
Ted Nugent.
Yeah.
And I have poor memories because my dad used to think he was the coolest motherfucker.
Dang.
I remember
Also, one of my
uncle-
first rated M games was a Ted Nugent hunting game.
Oh, seriously? Oh my fucking god.
That's kind of sad.
Oh my
I
fucking
always
god.
like this has nothing to do with anything at all. But whenever I hear about Ted Nugent, I always think that his name sounds like a kind of candy.
It sounds like nougat.
Yeah,
Like,
that's
aside from
why.
him as a person just being the most reprehensible kind, his music's not good.
I don't think
Oh.
I don't think I know his music really. What's he done?
It's generally bad.
Like what's something he's done that I might know?
Cat Scratch Fever.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
was the one thing I will give him at all is he was the guitarist for the Amboy Dukes back in the 60s.
I think
who
mostly
made
people
some
now
decent
know him
music.
for just saying completely wild racist shit.
And being a weird survivalist. And
Oh, yeah.
also
that's-
like actually creepy.
That's
But like,
where that is
he's not even someone who uses dog whistles. He
No.
just says shit.
Yeah, he's like that.
Like literally the place that I first heard of Ted Nugent was when I used to watch VH1 specials as like a middle schooler. They would have him on as like the whoa, look at how wild this guy is. Dude.
Oh lord.
Along with a number of other people who are, in hindsight, like pretty reprehensible, like fucking that one former child star whose name I'm forgetting, Danny something or other. But like, yeah, that was like his whole. That was my whole exposure to him for most of my life. He used to be okay in the 60s. I mean, you know.
But like
Again,
that's
that's
like
the
a
That's a long
different
time
era.
ago. Yeah.
Like-
Yeah, that's like, and also that was before he went full on like neo-fascist.
Well, it was also before he started doing the whole like, you know, cosplay as a rural poor person thing.
Yeah,
That like is the majority of the kinds of people.
but the
that
funny
support.
thing is, like my
Like,
uncle, the way I was introduced to Ted Nugent, or not directly, was that my uncle fucking hated Ted Nugent, and he was like, I knew about this guy
Hey,
back when he was,
so-
you know, in the 60s
Fun
and pretending
story.
to be hippie. And then he
Fun-
started pretending to be a redneck.
Fun
It's like-
story. My uncle also hates Ted Nugent, so that should tell you something about the likability of this man.
Yeah, and it's like...
My
yeah,
uncle,
like-
who is an actual fucking police chief, hates Ted Nugent too.
Yeah.
For
Like,
much dumber reasons, probably. But
I mean,
know.
well, the guy adopted a 17-year-old so he could marry her.
oh, that's like also real bad.
Yeah, like he's
You
he's
killed Trey.
grody.
Oh no, Trey,
It's like-
come back to us.
Trey, don't die.
Sorry.
No, it's okay. We were just. we were
I
just
know that
being-
Ted Nugent is toxic, but we don't want the fumes to kill you.
That's not what toxic. God damn it.
Toxic is a good song though.
Yeah, incidentally, the
I
YouTuber
can't
12
come down.
the YouTuber 12 Tone did a fairly extensive analysis of the really weird, like, chord stuff that happens in Toxic, including like, there's just a Hendrix
What?
chord out of nowhere.
What is the wah 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 part called? I want to know what chord that is. Chords.
That's not a chord. That's a melody.
That's what I meant. Like what chords in the sequence.
Well, they're not chords. They're just like notes.
Fair point. Look,
But
I've
the
told you
chord
before
under
that I
it
have
is
terrible
just-
tone differentiation.
I'm trying to figure. Like, there's that repeated guitar chord where which actually just runs like it's just one chord throughout large stretches of the song. The that's underneath like a huge amount of it. But the thing about like the song is it gets like full on atonal at points. It's really weird.
And it's also a jam.
It is, and that's part of why it's a jam. Is it's just like it just like it throws everything at the kitchen sink. No, it throws everything, including the kitchen sink, at you.
Throws everything at the kitchen sink.
I mean, sure, that too.
It breaks the
Yeah,
kitchen
exactly.
sink.
It breaks the kitchen.
I don't
sink
know what that
and
means.
Feeds it to you in the form of a pop song.
Okay, now we've gone into
And
like
then it be,
Now
and then it ambushes the plumber and
now we're like ghostwriting for Sean, baby. I don't know.
I mean, or are we
Go. I
ghostwriting
feel like
Pat
that's
Monahan
a slight exaggeration.
because of the metaphors. Pat Monahan of Train
Look,
is listening to us
Sean
and
Baby
getting new
is-
ideas for songs.
Sean Baby is just the Pat Monahan of internet comedy.
It's like the Eagles of death metal.
The man's not funny, okay? Like, this used to be, like, an opinion that you could not have because people would yell at you. I don't think anyone cares about Sean Baby anymore,
Nobody does.
so I'm gonna say it now. The guy's
he died
just
with
not
crack,
funny.
so-
Like setting aside all the, like, terribly offensive things he says, which is, like, most of his articles from before, like, a couple years ago. Even now, when he tries to write without doing that, it's just, like, long strings of unfunny similes. It's like, dudes, like...
I enjoy overly extended similes.
I don't think it's a inherently bad style, but he doesn't do it very well. It would be,
That is, yeah.
it's like the angry video game nerd, but not.
Without the... Well, he was
Gromit.
around as early, but not as charming.
Yeah.
And also, James Rolfe is just, from what
Oh,
I can
right,
tell, a
like-
much nicer person.
Yeah.
What is this?
Like-
Huh.
He is very good at separating himself and his character.
Yeah.
And also his character is done better than a lot of
Yeah.
other similar things, because it's like you're never really questioning whether it's a shtick or not.
Yeah.
It's very clearly a shtick.
Yeah.
Yes. And it's specifically a shtick making fun of a certain type of person on the internet.
Which is weird because, like,
But
a lot of the people who have come out since and tried to imitate his style
Are
those
yeah,
people.
are just the thing.
they
It's
are
like-
the thing.
You've just taken away the part where it's a joke. It's
Yeah,
not,
you just become Angry Joe Show.
I don't think I know who that is.
I know who that is. Oh man. But like I'm
I mean,
just
he calls
remembering
himself
something
Angry Joe when he does angry reviews. Like, he calls them angry reviews. So, like, that should tell you all you need to know.
Justice.
I'm
I
playing Tetris.
what
I'm playing Tetris.
are you winning?
I
Oh.
was going to say was I was just reminded because of all this of Alison Pregler talking about back when she was on That Guy with the Glasses doing an interview type thing with Doug Walker that he conducted, and him asking her where she got her what she was imitating when she did her style of jokes, and then she said, well, I just developed my own sense of humor, like you do. And he
That's really
couldn't
funny.
believe that people didn't take their shticks from other people.
Just wholesale.
Yeah, or imitate other people like consciously. And she was so puzzled by that at the time. Like, she said, I didn't know what to say, so I didn't say anything about that. But he was just, like, so convinced. Like, he was fascinated by the idea that I had original thoughts.
Hmm.
And
This
that's
is
kind of sad.
This is a woman
Maybe.
saying this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That I do wonder if that's some part of it. I don't
I
really
mean,
know a whole lot about
but
Doug
he was
Walker,
like-
to be honest.
Oh,
so maybe
but it
there
that's
was
it.
It wasn't
sexism
that
was a
she
problem.
had
Oh, okay.
specifically had original thoughts that anyone did.
But, like, especially if you hear the stories from,
But that's true.
Clint,
Yeah.
that- God, just everything I heard about the production of To Boldly Flee.
Oh God,
Just-
yes. Ah.
I like missed the whole funny
Change the channel.
like funny internet review man thing.
Oh.
Like, which is
I
not
like came into it late.
which is like not
Well-
me saying I'm better than anybody, just to be clear. But like, so it's always weird to me. Like, I will not think about these people for like months to years at a time, and then I remember like, I don't remember when that whole like the whole change the channel thing
I
happened,
think
but
Change the Channel is 2016, wasn't it?
probably around
2017.
2017.
Oh,
I remember like that happened, and I was like, huh, okay, well that's weird.
Bad.
Like,
Yeah.
well, yeah, terrible, but like, just being from these people that I like, to be honest, I kind of assumed that was like not a thing anymore. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Alright, I know it was 2017 because I was in the Magic Planet when it happened.
Oh yeah.
Huh. Yeah.
'Cause I was
So
talking to it with Heinz as it unraveled.
first fake beef with nostalgia.
I wasted.
Oh my
youth.
God! I kind of remember.
I know.
I wasted my youth.
Like, I don't know. I remember. What am I trying to say? Like, I've watched some Pod in the Shadows. Is what I was trying to get at. I don't know why I started my sentence the completely wrong way.
There are a
I
handful.
feel like he's the only one
Yeah.
that I was actually like really 100% attached to at the time.
Yeah.
Kyle Colgren of Browse Up High is still actually he's just consistently gotten better, and he's
I'm
fantastic.
I'm sure that he has. It's just like Todd is one of the few in that sphere who both reviews things that I like know about, and also I find his style of humor funny.
Yeah,
Even though I disagree with
yeah.
him like 90% of the time.
yeah.
I watch Linkara and
I-
Allison.
I
Link
have
and Todd.
Link
I
is
very
the,
occasionally watch Linkara's stuff.
Linkara is like the comics one, right?
Yeah, and
Yeah. Very occasionally. He seems
occasionally
like a
watch-
decent enough dude. He used to be a Republican, but
I
other than
occasionally watch Sage's videos.
yeah, same.
But,
He has also improved significantly over time.
but
Kind of has moved into the whole extremely intensive research on whatever he's talking about thing, which is actually really interesting. Especially considering he covers like old anime, which not a lot of people do. Although more people do. There are people like Kenny Lauderdale these days, I guess. Who goes for really obscure shit. You know, he has his niche, and he's done well in it.
Niche is a funny word.
Niche.
The PBS Eons YouTube channel had to like mention in a video that they were not going to make their hosts pronounce the word niche differently because people kept complaining about it.
Oh, Lord.
Like, it's a science channel. They talk about like
Yeah.
evolutionary niche, and some of them say that, some of them say niche because it's a dialectical thing.
Oh,
And,
Yeah.
and they were at one point just like, you know, suck it up, essentially. Like, they were not that rude, but
The word dialectical is funny because immediately I think of, like, Hegel and Marx.
what?
But then there's also
dialectical materialism.
Well, but also dialectics as in the Hegelian dialectic.
Yeah, it's a economic philosophy thing.
Although, well, with Hegel it's just philosophy, but
Right, yeah.
confusing. Because it's Hegel. Who the fuck knows what Hegel
No,
is talking
Confucius is a different philosopher.
about? God damn it, when? I'm dying. I'm dying, Squirtle.
Boop, 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 ba-doo, ba-doo.
So, Jane, I'm
Yeah?
looking at your character now, and what the fuck are you?
I mean, it's Isaac, so like a baby, but like, you know,
baby.
a fucked up and evil
The
baby.
baby.
It's not the baby, although that would be a fun mod.
Like, just the baby fighting evil.
Yeah.
I think the baby is up there. Like, I think that he genuinely has a run against Fantano for best teeth in the game, and it's terrifying.
What? I mean, he has a nice smile, it's true.
$1 billion baby.
I like his music.
I will put that baby in a guillotine.
People turned against the baby very quickly, and I kind of don't know why.
I think it was just overexposure, mainly.
I guess.
I know nothing.
But like, that's every artist nowadays, and it's easier
yeah.
than ever to just like avoid music you don't want to listen to.
Fair. I mean, like, I think Although it is kind of weird that, like, you know, people turned against DaBaby, but, like, somehow Drake's career seems indestructible.
Like, I don't. We've had this conversation on the show before, and I don't know.
How does his career
The
not
man-
die?
Answer for your crimes, Drake.
The man sold his soul to Satan or something.
Like, to be fair, I don't think he had that many hits in 2020, other than
The
Tootsie
fucking
Slide.
Tootsie Slide charted, so I feel like that's alchemy on its own.
No, I mean, I kind of get why it charted, honestly. I kind of get it.
I don't like that song, but
You don't have to like it. I'm just saying I get it.
Right here, right now, I'm starting beef with Drake.
Like, I mean, Jane and I already have beef with Drake.
I mean,
I would like I don't even like I don't hate his music. I just like
Yeah.
it's honestly it's another case like Eminem where I'm like he seems so much more famous than he should be given how good he is, which is like he's like all right.
Yeah.
but Eminem's so funny, Jane.
Look, like I get you're making a joke, but there's people who think that, and even the people who think that, there's like other rappers who do that and have done that and are better than Eminem. So it's just, like-
Yes.
and
But are they white?
some of them are. That's the thing. Like I was gonna be like even the obvious thing is like, you know, fucking like Cage Kennels and Thurston Howell are Thurston Howell's Hispanic, but the Cage Kennels is white. Like I don't know. Evidence other people in that scene that mostly doesn't exist anymore, but I don't know. I just don't get it. I really think that a large part of Eminem's success is that Dr. Dre was involved with
Are the
promoting him.
Beastie Boys less successful than Eminem?
I mean, like, yeah, but like
Although
the
they
Beastie
were
Boys,
arguably more influential.
the Beastie Boys,
More influential and more like critically renowned.
yeah,
probably.
that too. But like the Beastie Boys do fine. Like,
Yeah.
you know,
The Beastie Boys make do.
yeah. I also like Paul's Boutique about 1,000,000 times better than anything Eminem has ever done. So
That
that's
I
just
don't know who
my
half these people are.
Paul's Boutique is an album by the Beastie Boys.
yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
Paul's Boutique is an album by the Beastie Boys. Another
now I
one
feel
is,
especially silly.
it's one of the best known ones, along with License to Ill,
Yeah.
which
I suppose I don't really know album names when it comes to the Beastie Boys.
that's fair.
Aside from License to Ill.
Also, the fact that the Beastie Boys started out as... I just love that they started out as a hardcore band in New York, playing shows with, like, Sonic Youth back when Sonic Youth were really weird. And then they just kind of became a rap group,
You know.
like you do.
I mean, it was New York in the 80s. That kind of thing wasn't
I mean, yeah.
that weird back then.
No, I mean, like, there was the whole, I mean, it kind of can be seen as a continuation of the whole, like, and it was also known as this at the time, was the whole punk funk kind of thing, or mutant disco was another thing, which
Sometimes
was...
Shredney just says words.
I actually know
No,
what she's talking about this time.
The mutant disco thing was the idea that you could do anything if you put a disco beat under it, and somebody would be into it. And,
Yeah.
like, there were a lot of people who kind of, like, were originally into, like, really weird, freaky art music, who got really into, like, stuff like disco and funk, and started incorporating that. And one would be, like, Liquid, the contortions, like what James Chance did after the contortions kind of sort of broke up. Although the contortions themselves were very funk influenced as well. Like Lydia Lunch did some like really weird disco influenced stuff. But yeah, like, but there was some overlap with that also with hip hop, and ZE Records had a lot of involvement.
I remember like the big one that was, you know, like hugely impactful at the time, and people don't really remember anymore unless they're like really into the history of this kind of thing. Was Fab Five Freddy being friends with the girl from Blondie.
Oh,
And
yeah.
which is why she very badly, mind you, raps on that one single from
Rapture,
Rapture.
it's called.
Yeah, Rapture.
Yeah.
That song
one-
is like not that good, but you know,
Yeah, but like, you know,
it was
it's
the
important
80s.
but not good, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But also like there was how
Much like many of
Like
our
that.
leaders. Hey-o.
but that's sort of like how was it who was it who did the single where he was like it was a diss track against Basquiat?
You're thinking of Ram LZ with
Yeah, Ramels. Well, no, Ramels. I was thinking Ramels, but who was the other guy on it?
K-Rob.
K-Rob, yes.
It wasn't like
Yeah.
it wasn't a diss track. It was just like they did not like Basquiat, and he like tried to be involved with the recording process, but they wouldn't let him.
The rest of his band provided the instrumental.
Yeah, like that song has a whole very weird history that is mostly
I
lost to
remember.
time.
You recounted it once on Keeper's Hangout.
Yeah, back when I had like that little music blog thing that I only did like 4 write-ups for.
Yeah, but that was very interesting, and also like Grey were tangentially involved with the same kind of no wave thing that the whole mutant disco thing evolved out of, which was also the same scene that bands like Sonic Youth and Swans came out of, for the record. Although not that many of them put out records, but tish.
Fucking got him.
Another one from that whole thing was DNA. DNA are really fucking weird.
No relation to the Tom's Diner people, right?
Not at all. DNA were a trio that included Arter Lindsay on guitar. One of the few people I know of who played 12-string electric, and did not play it in a remotely folky style. And
It's a lot of strings.
That's a lot
Ikue
of
Mori,
strings.
well, it's like they're doubled. So it's really 6 strings, but they're doubled in octaves. It's like typically used in, like, acoustic ones are typically used in folk music. Because they kind of have that, like, really pretty shimmery kind of sound to them. Like you hear it in country music sometimes, but you don't hear it much in like punk music, and that's kind of a thing with DNA. Is also their drummer was Ikue Mori, who initially she was a Japanese student who did not speak English early on. She learned English later, but like when she first joined the band, she knew like very, very little English. So they would like communicate through gestures to give her an idea of what they were going for.
That's like the plot of a movie or something.
The
And,
universal language.
And also, she taught herself how to drum based less so on like rock drumming than on like Japanese taiko drumming. and she doesn't really like. She doesn't do consistent measures. Like her the pulse is consistent, but she like does things where it's like really unclear what the time signature is.
Hmm.
She later got involved very heavily in free jazz and free improvisation, as one would.
Something improvisational jazz.
Yeah, like learning. I'm just remembering that bit in SpongeBob about learning to appreciate freeform jazz, and then just
Yeah.
like
Puff out your chest and say tax exemption.
What?
tax exemption.
Thank you.
This is what I get for
Yeah,
never,
like it's from
never
the same
having
bit.
actual seen the episode. Actually seen the episode. I cannot talk today. I'm extremely
It's a good
out
episode.
of it. I apologize for the stream today being all like fucked up on my end.
It's the Weenie Hut Jr. episode.
Oh, okay.
Which is just the funniest set of words.
That's
To
where
me.
yeah. That's where Drake lives.
I mean, yes. Yes.
Nah, he lives at Super Weenie Hut Jr.
Super Weenie Hut Jr. the Third.
Hmm.
Can we replace Drake with a flying reptile?
And nothing of value was lost.
Wait, no. No, we replace Adam Levine with a flying reptile because no one would be able to tell.
I get it. It's funny because Adam Levine's vocal range is very high.
And he sounds like a weird mutant parrot sent through autotune. And I don't have a problem with autotune, but I have a problem with Adam Levine. And not
On a-
even as a person,
on a
just as
personal
an
level?
entity.
What if Adam Levine
Adam Levine.
made
That sounds
Alright,
like
now everybody's now using Adam La TikTok.
Adam Levine.
Adam Le TikTok.
But Adam Levine sounds like an
adult
obscure,
performer,
openly
yes.
gay French crooner.
Okay, well that's not what I was going for, but same idea, I guess. Basically, if you think about it.
Like who like recently did a disco revival album.
Shredney, can
That
I
was
tell you
well
something? Your jokes, they go too narrow.
That one's at least partly influenced by that whole thing of where Jesse Ware, I can't remember what
Yeah,
he's
no,
mainly known for,
Like
did that disco revival album recently
Yes.
that everybody was like really very fond of.
yes, but like
Dua Lipa?
No, not Dua Lipa, Jesse Ware. Dua Lipa also did a disco revival thing, but that was
the Dua Lipa's like Albanian, right?
I thought
She
she
is
was
Albanian.
Finnish. Oh, she's she's Albanian.
English, but family's from Albania.
Interesting, huh? I am pretty sure that Baby Rexa, just going by her name, is of Albanian descent.
Is that her actual name? It's always the question you
I am
wonder.
pretty sure it is.
It's Bleta Rexa, and then
Yeah.
BB's a
Well,
a
it would be
nickname.
in Albanian that would be Bleta Reja, actually, which I don't know. Bleta Rager sounds like a very different kind of artist. Like makes digital hardcore.
I'm going to make your something.
Yeah, it says it
Yeah.
right here. Bleta Regia.
Owned.
Look, it's been a long day, okay? It's been a long week. We can agree on that, yes?
It's been a long year.
Yeah, her family is actually from North Macedonia.
Hey, Shredney? Shredney,
Yes.
do you agree that it's been a long week?
I mean, any
Been a
week
long-
after what happened the week before that is gonna feel very long.
True.
Double impeachment bingo.
Like,
Impeachment 2.
it's okay. Like, we could talk about so many things with regard to that, and you know, to varying degrees of being worth doing. But like, never really thought I would live to see even one impeachment in my lifetime, other than the one that happened when I was like a small child. Two is just like, I don't.
Yeah.
It's just weird, right? Like, we can agree that it's weird.
I mean, yeah, but
Like,
also they
did
elected that
did-
asshole president.
yeah, like, does he deserve it? Oh yes, and so much worse than what will actually happen. But like, it's just weird,
It's
right? It's
deeply
not
bizarre.
It's not usual. Is how I would describe it.
Yeah, like, I mean, it's the first time somebody's been impeached twice.
Yeah.
In the U.S., at least. They've done equivalent things in plenty of other countries, but, like, even then, it's not common. You know?
It's
Like, typically, that's like Silvio Berlusconi shit.
Getting pings. Hold on. Those are messages from Cammy. I will look at those later on. But yeah, like, I don't know. It's been a strange time in history to live through.
Indeed.
When I am like 70 and people are like, what was it like living through the Trump presidency? I'm gonna be like, mostly pretty bad, but in like a really confusing way.
Yeah.
Because like all the terrible things he's done have obstructed the fact that some of the terrible things he's done have just been like nonsensical. Like I totally forgot about this because this was like a controversy and I just didn't remember. Like, he bought a piece of land and erected a Civil War monument there to a battle that did not actually happen. Like, he just made
What?
one up.
I
Yeah.
didn't know about that.
Yeah, no, look up. It has a Wikipedia page. It's called the Rivers of Blood Monument. Not a thing. Like, they're like, the place where it is erected is like, oh, we commemorate the soldiers who died here on blah 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 18 something whatever the fuck. It's just like not a thing that happened.
Wait, Rivers of Blood. That sounds like like a reference to the fucking Rivers of Blood speech that Enoch Powell gave.
I might actually
incidentally-
be confusing the two. Now that I think, like, it's
No, it is the river. It is
Okay.
called the River of Blood.
okay, but like,
And-
yeah, just
And it's like, but the Rivers of Blood speech by Enoch
Yeah,
Powell
no, I know.
incidentally was this unhinged rant about immigrants, which is perfect for Trump. And
It's-
incidentally, it kind of killed Enoch Powell's political career.
it's just like, it's the sort of thing where there's evil things that make at least some sort of logical, like, there's an internal logic, and then there's things like that which are just like, but why, like, for the benefit of whom? Like, is it considered prestigious to own a Civil War monument? I guess maybe in some circles it is.
He is. I genuinely think that there is something very wrong with Donald Trump on a very fundamental level.
I mean, of course there is. Like, his father was
beyond
the same
being a
way,
bad
and he was
person.
raised by him. So, like, yeah. Like, yes. I mean, you know.
Like, he has, like, he gives me, like, person with fucking brainworms vibes.
It's just... It's just... Like, I guess. I don't know. It's the kind of thing where I'm like... There is no... Science cannot yet explain how a man becomes this much of a shithead.
I mean, like, it makes sense. Like, his family are awful.
I mean, yeah, like, I don't know.
Well,
It's-
immediate family.
It's weird.
But yeah,
Ah, goody, the analog stick, my favorite item in the game.
is it like a literal stick?
It lets you shoot along, like you don't have to adhere to the 4 shot directions anymore. You can just
Cardinal directions, yeah.
shoot
Huh,
whatever
okay.
direction you want. It's like has its uses, but it's a very it's a niche item. But yeah, no, like I said, when people ask what living through this point in history was
And
like,
like,
I'm gonna
go,
be like, it
go,
was,
go.
it was
I'm
bad,
not.
just-
I'm obviously not equating those two things. That was actually precisely my point. Is I don't want to attribute him being evil to that. I'm saying that he also comes off as like there's something strange that's like not just being a bad person. And I'm not sure what's up with that,
Maybe
was my point.
he is from another dimension.
Or possessed.
Yeah. It's what my my grandma's brother apparently thinks.
Really?
I have learned from like,
Unironically?
yeah, no, he's like a super fucking hardcore like I don't remember what denomination he is. He's not Catholic. He was raised Catholic, but he's not anymore. He's like, yeah, no, I actually unironically believe that the president is possessed by a demon and has been since he was a child, and that's why he's like that. And I'm like, you know,
I mean,
maybe you're onto something, man.
I mean, and also, like, I mean, at least he doesn't think that he's been sent by God. Like
No,
some
no,
Yogis do.
The family member in question is somewhat estranged from the rest of the extended family because he's much more left-leaning than most of them.
Huh.
He also lives somewhere that's like not near any of them. You think he lives in like Georgia or something.
How... Quel curieux.
What?
Quel curieux, as in French, how curious.
Yeah. I'm actually struggling to remember his name. I used to know it, and I have forgotten. But, anyway. You know. History. I will say, and this is not a healthy thing to do, but I have made a habit of checking CNN's website once a day and reading the inevitable headline that is like, Donald Trump mopes around in White House after humiliating second impeachment, crying
Yes!
to his staff, but it's like...
I just poke
Yes.
into the... So Apple has a news app, and the stuff that pops up is stuff like that, and it's fucking hysterical. But I do prefer to actually read stuff like by, specifically going over to like Reuters or something. Oh, hey, Reuters, I'm gonna look under Oddly Enough. Because those always have good, don't prosecute a pigeon in Australia. That's shitty.
If you prosecute a pigeon, he'll want some milk to go with it.
Oh my god.
Thank you. I've decided to finish out the stream tonight with a "if you give a mouse a cookie" reference.
I mean, one could do very much worse.
No. Something I've actually meant to do is like...
They're deporting a pigeon!
What? Why?
The Australians are deporting a pigeon. Okay, it has to do with strict biosecurity rules.
Oh, okay.
In the
that
country.
makes sense.
But at the same time, it is a little bit extreme that they're like, we're going to put down the pigeon, and then they're like, no, we're going to deport the pigeon to the U.S.
The pigeon is wanted for high crimes.
Oh my fucking god.
We should, like... I actually have meant to do this for a while, and I just keep forgetting. I should, like, prepare, like, 2 or 3 things to talk about in advance for each stream. Because I think that would be nice. Also, I do kind of feel like if I don't do that, we tend to veer into one of, like, 2 or 3 topics that we talk about all the time. Which is not a problem, but, like, some variety would be fine, I think.
The spice of life.
I don't know, what do you guys think of that?
Sure.
Not bad.
Like, what? So establish some kind of thing? Or thing?
What?
Okay, explain what your intention is again.
Like, I just think it would be interesting and perhaps beneficial to, like, stream quality and just fun to have, like, a list of things, like a small list of things prepared that we could talk about each week.
Sure. I'm not opposed.
Like, for instance, instead of spending the past 15 minutes talking about our bad and uncool president, we could have been talking about this pigeon deportation story, which is obviously much more important.
Yeah, it's like, oh my god, the fucking deputy prime minister said, if Joe, that's what they've named the pigeon, has come in a way that has not met our strict biosecurity measures, then bad luck, Joe. Either way, fly home or face the consequences. This man said this unironically to reporters.
It's a bird, dude.
You
can't understand?
It had a tag from Alabama. It managed to go 13,000 miles. Somehow.
That's
Nobody's
wild.
really sure how.
I am gonna drop
Okay.
head out now.
Good enough.
Have a
I
good
know
day.
there's probably only a few minutes left, but
Yeah, we might end up running over because I'm doing a...
you've already run over.
No.
Oh, well, you were late, that's right.
Yeah. But,
Anyway,
yeah, no.
goodbye.
That's fine.
Have a good one.
Yeah.
Later.
But yeah, no, I just think that could be a thing to do that would make the shows a bit more fun and interesting, possibly. Not that they're bad now, by any means, but, like, you know what I'm getting at, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like, I mean, for example, I can just go to Reuters' Oddly Enough page.
Yeah,
and
no,
find-
that's fine. Like, if you see something that would fit, you can just, like, drop it in the group chat, and we can talk about it on the
Magicians
show.
mark 100 years of sawing people in half. Fucking told you.
Thank God.
Gold.
Right? Like, thank God that proud tradition survived to the present day.
It opens with a line, he came, he sawed, he conquered. And it's the anniversary of K.T. Selbit being the first guy recorded to put a woman in a box on stage and saw her in half in a magic act, not for other reasons, I suppose.
You know what that makes me think about, Shredney?
What?
Because we're living in a box.
We're living in a
Living in
Living in
a
a
car.
car.
well, living in a
Cardboard
wooden
box.
box, being slowly sawed in half.
We're getting sawed in half. We're being slowly sawed in half.
Yeah, like
While we're living in a box.
living in a cardboard box. What the fuck is up with that band and song?
Sorry, you don't think that Living in a Box by Living in a Box is the best song ever made? Because if you don't, I'm unfortunately going to tell you right now that it is, like, factually.
No, the best song ever made is Deeply Dippy by Right Said Fred.
Alright, that is a good contender. What's so right about them anyway?
I mean, it's like they're trying to walk in different directions with a large piano.
And Right Said Fred, let's have another cup of tea.
Yep.
I looked that song up after I saw that episode of One Hit Wonderland, and it has I only listened to it the one time, and it's basically never left my head.
I mean, yeah, it's that kind of weird little novelty song.
It's like, I mean, he says it in the episode. It's like, it's a song
Yeah, but
about some guys who can't move a piano because it's too heavy.
Mm-hmm.
It's
And
not a thing there's much music about.
yeah, like I am reminded that there was a song that Wire did at their infamous Leap Day performance in 1980, which was their last show for like 5 years, which was called Piano Tuner. Subtitled Keep Strumming Those Guitars. And it has like a really simple riff repeated over and over again. And Colin Newman's sole lyric in that song is keep strumming, keep strumming, keep strumming, keep strumming, keep strumming those fucking guitars. Over and over again. And he's shouting it more and more vehemently. And apparently during the song, and I don't know if there are photos of this, I really hope there are, he provided percussion by hitting a gas stove with a tire iron. You can hear it. It's like dang, ding, dang, dang, of him like
Malice the
wailing on a
percussion
gas
with a
stove with a
shoehorn.
tire iron. It was that performance was very strange.
Hot in the airport, hot in the airport, hot in the airport.
Now that is a contender for best song of all time.
Hot in the Airport by whatever that guy's name is.
Why Beckhurst?
Why Beckhurst, indeed.
Also, like, people figured out from listening to the other songs on that album that he was definitely from the Dominican Republic. Because he sings, like, when he occasionally goes into Spanish, but it's a really specific dialect of Spanish. That is, like, the way that he structures his sentences grammatically is a distinctly Dominican thing.
Well, I hope he's still out there somewhere. Still hot in the airport.
In the airport. The guitar work on that song is genuinely really pretty.
I mean, it is. It's just that he's going hot in the airport over the top of it, basically incessantly throughout the whole thing.
But, like, it's kind of great.
It's music.
It's like it is one of those albums that makes you think about, like, those fucking iceberg memes, and it's like, how far down am I?
I don't know. I feel like I have very, like, surface level taste in music, but occasionally I will listen to something and I'll try to talk to other people about it, and they'll just be like, "What are you talking about?"
Yeah, like,
Yeah.
like you being the one other person I know outside of, like, my music Discord friends who's into Jandek.
Yeah, I like Jandek.
And it's like,
I don't even think that that's weird. Like, I don't get why other people don't like Jandek.
I mean, well, okay, you and, like, a handful of other people I know who are, like, the kind of people who like Jandek. And it's like, but I mean, like, it's like, the thing is, Jandek is a thing that people who are very into that kind of music like, is what I mean. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I mean, like, I don't listen to Jandek every day or anything, but
I mean, of course, but, like, it is not, like, I don't think that many people do.
Jandek might.
Jandek is a surprisingly chill guy going by interviews.
Mr. Sterling Smith himself.
Mm-hmm. And it's like, you know, it's kind of great is, like, that even though the man himself is much less mysterious now, the music hasn't gotten any less bizarre and mysterious. And that's kind of cool. I like that. Like, Ready for the House is still one of the most eerie albums.
Lake Erie albums. Anyway, on that stupid
Indeed.
pun, we should probably end now.
Yeah, I'm gonna dab so hard I break the sound barrier in every bone in my body.
Alright, well, you do that. Good night, everybody.
Good night!
Good night.
Hot in the airport.